The only poll out there, and that you're very confident going into the final stretch.
What I am is excited because all around Kentucky I see this special type of energy that I haven't seen in one of these races before. I see people who are excited for a governor that listens more than he talks and for one that solves more problems than he creates. I know people are desperate for a governor that would never engage in bullying or name calling, but spend all his time addressing the challenges in front of us. I see people who want a governor that can bring us together after 4 years of this governor tearing us apart.
Okay, if you're going into this final stretch, if the race is as close as that poll says it is, what do you need to do to separate yourself from the competition?
Well, we need to get our message out there, a message of fighting for Kentucky families, of being laser focused on those kitchen table issues that keep us up at night.
What are the kitchen table issues?
Well, they're public education, pensions, health care, and jobs. You know, at the end of the day, once you put your kids to bed, I know what that's like. I have a 9 and 10-year-old. You put your kids to bed, you breathe out, and then you start worrying about those things that are in front of you. Do you have a good enough job to provide for your children? And if you do, for most people, your wages haven't gone up in far too long, meaning you're working just as hard, but you're falling further behind because gas and groceries and pharmaceuticals keep rising. You're worried about your kids in their public school, wanting to make sure they get the best education that they can, and we're facing a teacher shortage that makes that a real problem.
You had mentioned that you thought that public schools would close. Do you think that that's an exaggeration?
No, I don't. There have been, they call it consolidation sometimes, where school systems, because of Matt Bevin's cuts, have faced a need to ultimately combine 2 schools into one and eliminate a school in a community that oftentimes may even disappear when that school is gone. Matt Bevin's education cuts are real. First, when he talks about funding education, he doesn't take into account inflation, which is significant. And those dollars are needed for our kids. But take my running mate, because I'm running with an assistant principal and teacher named Jacqueline Coleman. Under one of Matt Bevin's budgets, she had to let go of 10 people in her high school, 10 adults. That means the same number of kids are showing up, but there are 10 fewer responsible adults there. That's a school safety issue, and it's a class size issue. She also lost every dollar for instructional learning, which is technology and textbooks, meaning she had kids learning from textbooks held together by duct tape. I am going to always have an education-first budget to where we solve those issues. We make sure that we're not shortchanging our kids at any point in time, and that we give teachers the $2,000 across-the-board raise that they have earned, because we can't have a year-round sub teaching algebra, for instance.
Is a year-round sub teaching algebra in a lot of cases?
Oh, we have a teacher shortage where we have more subs year-round right now in critical classes. We have science classes where we have a lack of physics teachers here in Kentucky. And we've got to make sure that no child has a full year of not getting the absolute best, because all of our children deserve the best of the best, which means we got to recruit the best teachers too.
So what should the minimum annual pay for a teacher be?
We want to eventually move the minimum annual pay for every teacher in the Commonwealth to $40,000.
Where does that put that in the national scheme of things?
Well, I believe what it's got to put us at is a place where our teachers can pay the bills here in Kentucky. You look at a teacher I know in Barberville in eastern Kentucky. She just had to combine her student loan with her child's going to college. That shouldn't happen. But when we have some teachers starting out earning $28,000 a year, and we expect them to have college degrees and master's degrees, well, folks out there watching know you can't pay your student loan, afford housing, feed just yourself, and have anything left over.
Are teachers the only ones who should be getting pay raises?
No, they are not.
Okay. Tell me who else needs to get?
You look at our social workers. I mean, these are folks that go into dangerous situations every day. They are understaffed, and they serve our most neglected. We have state and city workers that do incredibly important work that haven't gotten raises in years, and we want to move towards a budget that would recognize that. But the first thing we've got to do is honor the retirement they were promised. You know, for all these professions, we have said that we don't pay you enough. But if you commit to decades of service, because that's what it takes to get a pension, we'll make it up for you on the back end. But this governor tried to illegally cut the pensions of over 200,000 public servants. I was honored to stop him, but now it's time that we fund that system in a way that makes it solvent moving forward.
Okay, so that leads to what we're going to talk about in the next block.
Great.
I want to know, I want to hear how you plan to pay for all of this, and I think viewers out there will want to know the same thing. So we will continue our conversation with Kentucky candidate for governor Andy Beshear.